Yo, what's going on? Constellation Gaming here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a deck that's not only just near and dear to my heart, but near and dear to the community's heart as a whole. We're going to be taking a look at bears. So this is our list. Starting out the deck, we've got 3 copies of Urseer. Urseer allows you to destroy an Celestial in battle and special cast out a bear, which can be extremely strong in the fact that it acts almost as though it's a smaller Viserys, without the downside of having to put your special cast Celestial in defense position, so you can also utilize that Celestial to attack. So in a very, very high roll situation, you can technically go Urseer, destroy something, special cast out Urseer, destroy something else, special cast out a third Urseer, and then go into your Abomin Ursa and just have an extremely strong Abomin Ursa because he will get 2 attack for each bear Lestral on the field. So at that point, if you have 3 of them plus himself, each other, my bad. So he will then become a 9-1 attacker, which is extremely big. Next, we've got 3 copies of Ursmog. Ursmog is extremely strong right now in this deck, in my opinion, for one reason, and that's because Majursa, Champion of Hestia, you want to turbo this out as fast as you physically can while they have a decent board state. Even smacking this out on turn 1 is still extremely strong due to the fact that it's just a big guy, and if you're getting him out on turn 1, you're gonna have multiple spirits on board that you have done so with. But you want to utilize the combination of Ursmog and Ursaden, which will allow you to enchant spirit every time you cast out a bear, and then disenchant 4 spirits from Ursaden in order to special cast a bear Celestial on your field. So you can easily go with Ursaden as long as you have Ursmog and another bear Celestial. You can easily turn 1 turbo into it by playing Ursaden, Ursmog, utilize its ability, play a bear, and then your Ursaden will have all of its spirits, and then you can utilize Majursa at that point and just if you're playing second, you can blow up their entire board. If you're playing first, then you just have a lot of Alestrals on board and a big Alestral at that they have to deal with, plus any back row that you might have had. We've got 2 copies of Smoltuga. This is here in order to find either our Urseer or our Ursmog. If we can easily just utilize Ursmog's ability to turbo into Majursa the next turn, we're probably going to grab Ursmog, but if we don't have Ursaden in hand or anything like that, probably going to grab Urseer and then allow ourselves to just have the opportunity to utilize his ability in combat. 3 copies of Astrarabbit. This is here because we are kind of a combo deck, so we want to utilize Astrarabbit to find our combo pieces. It's just an extremely strong card still, in my opinion. Some people aren't thinking it's nearly as strong, but I feel as though it's even more powerful when you're trying to search for specific cards, and this will allow you to just find search the top 3 for it. We've got the 2 copies of Abomin Ursa that we talked about before. It can just become a big Alestral. Plus, if you have like Ursmog and another Alestral, or just Ursmog special cast out Abomin Ursa with Ursaden, it's still a 6 attacker at that point. It's a 5 attacker just with Ursmog plus Abomin Ursa. So it's a decent Alestral, but you want to have more bears out when you do go into Abomin Ursa. 3 copies of Ursicle. This can just find out whatever we need. If we're looking for Don't Poke the Bear as a combat trick, we can grab that. We can grab our Urseer, Ursmog, Ursaden. Literally just anything that we're looking for or that we might need. We can grab our High Bear Nation in order to utilize spirits in the underworld to load up Ursaden. Ursicle is just the best searcher in this deck that you could possibly ask for, because it searches runes, it searches Alestrals, it does literally everything that you could want a searcher to do. Got 2 copies of Earthquake because our bears are kind of on the smaller side, so if they do smack out something like a Blistrix or something of that nature, or just Big Majesty, might be a little complex to get it off without Majursa going boom. So Earthquake, we do need the removal in order to get over some of the bigger things, so that's why we're playing Earthquake. 3 copies of Don't Poke the Bear. This is just an extremely strong combat trick. People are paying 4 to sometimes give their Elestrals +2 attack with like Scythe. So if you can just pay 1 in order to give your Elestral +4/+4, making your Majursa possibly just a 12 attacker, or your Ursier a 7 attack 1-drop that can special cast out another Elestral. It is just an extremely strong combat trick that just, as more bears come out, is just going to make bears better and better. Got our 2 copies of Ursaden that we've already talked about. It can give our bear Elestrals +1/+1, but the main reason we're going to be utilizing it is just to turbo out into our Majursa. We've got 2 copies of Tsunami to void combat if we need it. Just anything that's not water enchanted will just be turned to defense, so it's extremely strong. 1 copy of Hurricane. This is just mainly so we can make sure our Ursier connects sometimes, and also just sometimes, even though we might be blowing up less cards, guarantee Majursa's effect goes off. Making sure it's not interrupted by Gorgons can be extremely valuable, so that's why we're playing the 1 copy. We've got 1 copy, or 2 copies of Hibernation. This works as a pseudo Ambrosia for your deck because you can heal up to 2 Fire or Frost Spirits to your Spirit deck, or you can utilize this in tandem with Ursaden in order to just load it up and utilize Majursa, or just utilize Ursaden with Hibernation in order to get into Majursa instead of just playing a bunch of Elestrals to do so. 3 copies of Ambrosia just because healing's extremely strong. And then we've got 1 copy of Rise from the Ashes. I will honestly give Caster Corners this credit. I think Rise is actually stronger as a 1-of. It is just like easier to slot in decks. Like, yeah, you can always play it. You could have always played it as a 1-of, but anytime you played Rise, you wanted to play it almost as like a reanimator package. But just in decks like this, where your big guy is pretty much all you want to do, finding Rise can be extremely impactful, and because there's very limited ways to out big guys like this sometimes, finding your Rise can just mean the end of the game if you get to summon out a second Majursa, which is part of why we're playing 2, because summoning a second Majursa, you can utilize Hibernation plus Ursaden and the spirits from the first Majursa to summon out the second one, and that can just be game ending on its own, let alone if you're able to just a single card, pay 3 spirits, Rise, and just blow up their entire board a second time. It's just extremely nuts in this deck. We've got 2 copies of Poison Tipped Arrow for removal and to possibly help some of our smaller guys live. 2 copies of Shield to bounce any bigger threats back to hand, and then our mandatory 3 copies of Gorgon's Gaze because it's the best counter in the entire game. And then our sideboard is a little interesting. First thing I want to point out is Hestia is a go second card in the sideboard, so if you know for a fact you're going second, this can possibly just enable you to be able to play Majursa turn 1 and blow up their entire board that they laid down without having to have an Ursmog, because you can just utilize Hestia's ability plus a bear and Ursaden in order to get out your Majursa in that way. Plus also, if you notice, our entire side deck is kind of like a smokescreen into Fire Nexus a little bit. So if we're noticing that they're just very easily countering out the bears, and we just want to be able to, like, if we think they're going to be sighting into a bunch of stuff in order to counteract our big play and our big push for Majursa, we can easily sideboard into the Fire Nexus package, and that will allow us to play lower to the ground and just destroy stuff with Kinleo, because Kinleo is going to be very impactful this set with a lot of people trying to turbo into bigger guys such as Magicy or Majursa. So Kinleo is an extremely strong sideboard option since we're already playing a bunch of Fire Spirits. Ash Rabbit, this card is here. We can easily just put this into our Bears deck and help us like regain healing or hibernation, or possibly get one of our Majursas back. There's just a lot of things that Ash Rabbit can get back in the Bears deck if they have heavy removal, but it is mainly just for the Fire Nexus portion, and just being able to Nexus from Kinleo onto an Ash Rabbit is extremely strong. We've got 2 copies of Necro. This is just a 5 beater. That's all it is. It's also searchable by Smoltuga, so it's just a 5 beater that we can easily slide in. 2 copies of Chains of Prometheus. This is here because if we're noticing they're not playing a bunch of back row, if they're only specifically setting one back row all the time, and they're like being very wary of Hurricane and stuff being blown up with Majursa, we still want to have a way to prevent them from Gorgonding our Majursa without necessarily having to spend as many spirits. And since Chains of Prometheus is specifically fire spirits, it can also be recuperated by hibernation, whereas the spirits from Hurricane are unable to be done, or you can't do so with. So that's also another reason why you have Chains of Prometheus in the side deck. We've already talked about the Hestia, and then 2 copies of Volcanic Forge, just because Fire Nexus, it's another Nexus bank that you can utilize, just easily swap out the Ursidens. And you can easily just keep the Majursa in with your Fire Nexus package, play some of the Bears, and then just blow up. Even if you're just blowing up a card or 2 while playing a big guy, that can still be extremely impactful. 1 copy of Resting on Your Laurels. This is mainly here for going second because we are just a spammy deck that's going to have a lot of spirits on board. We're not really going to be in a position most of the time, especially when we go first, to be playing Laurels. But if we do notice that they're just able to get more spirits on board, or that we're going second, Laurels is a good option for us. 1 copy of Shield in the sideboard. This is just in case we feel as though we need to be bouncing stuff back to hand, and just they're playing more big guys than us. Shield is going to be more valuable in situations like that over like PTA, so we can easily just swap one out and do that. And then I just don't like heal stall in a deck. Like I just don't like heal stall, so I pretty much always side in Spoiled Fruit where I can. But also just in a deck that's expending as many spirits as this, having your opponents heal on you can just be very detrimental. Even if it is just a single Ambrosia, that can make it to where you've just crossed the threshold to where you can't kill because of how many spirits that you have to spend in order to do a lot of your combination and stuff like that. So Spoiled Fruit has just multiple good uses in this deck, and I just hate heal stall. For the spirit deck, you got 2 Terratlas here. This is for your Earthquake. You've got 9 by Pyro for all of your fire shenanigans that's going on. 2 Levy Fin for your Tsunamis and your Hurricane and your Smoltuga. I don't really feel like you'll need more, because you're pretty much only going to be playing like 1 Smoltuga and maybe 1 Hurricane a game, or 1 Tsunami a game. Anything more you can just Ambrosia for if you end up drawing into it. 2 Thunder Spirits. This is for Aster Rabbit. I don't like playing one Thunder Spirit no matter what with Aster Rabbit, because just being able to re-enchant your Aster Rabbit is always a good play sometimes. We've got 1 Wind Spirit for our Hurricane, and then we have 4 Frost Spirits for the rest of our deck. We're able to recoup the Frost Spirits with like Hibernation and stuff like that. So we don't really need too much, because we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards that can utilize Frost Spirits in its entirety. And then we have 5 different cards that can heal them. So we're really not going to be utilizing Frost nearly as much. So having it on the lower end is okay. because you can always just enchant Ursa Den with fire constantly, and it'll still work out fine. Plus, we needed to have more fire, so that way we can play into the Fire Nexus portion of our deck, or of our sideboard, if we wanted to. But that's the list. What do you guys think of it? Let me know down in the comments below, and let me know if there's anything in Firestorm that you're excited to see. If you like videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe, as I've been cooking up a lot of deck lists, so I hope to see you soon. I hope you all have a good day, and peace.